What's up, YouTube? We're back today. It's been a while. I had drill and other stuff this last couple of weeks. Couldn't work on the Jeep, my mom's Jeep, but we're gonna keep pressing on here with the brakes. I got all the lines off, and we're gonna try and get the wheel cylinders out. So I'll show you. All right, so here's all the lines. Like I said, in the rust belt, it's gonna come apart on you anytime you try and do brake lines, especially in the rear. See, it'll show you better on this side. A little more light. So drum brakes are always fun because there's a lot of little different parts. What I'm going to try and do is just undo these retention or return springs actually for the shoes and see if I can just get the wheel cylinder to come out. So I'm going to spray all this down with brake clean, get rid of all the brake dust, try to catch all the brake clean in a pan, and then see if we can get those off to do what we need to do to get the wheel cylinders out. So we'll press on here. I'll show you all the tools and stuff as well. Okay, so down in the pan here, that was a clean pan except for the sidewalls because I was using it to drain some oil out. Bottom was clean when I started spraying this off. That's all brake dust. Brake dust can be really bad for your lungs, but so you just want to be careful when you're doing stuff with wheels and brakes and all that. Hose it down pretty good with some brake clean. It'll take all of it off, wash it away, put it somewhere else, and then you don't get it on your hands and yada yada yada. So drum brakes, like I said before, you got your two shoes, and then it's a conglomeration of springs and levers that make everything work. Down here is the adjuster mechanism, and like I said, depending on which style of brake you have, it will be a little different, but the general concept is the same, is that the springs pull everything together and then the wheel cylinder pushes everything apart to actually apply the brakes when you press the pedal. So up top here is the stud that is used to hold the return springs on the shoes, and it pulls together against the wheel cylinder that pushes out when you hit the brakes. Now, there's a couple tools out there that you can buy. Being in the car industry, I bought Snap-on for a lot of my stuff, and Cornwell and whatever else worked. But this is a tool that's used to remove the springs off the stud. It's a real slick deal. It's got that little, let's see if it'll focus. It's got that little nub on the front of it, which is great because what you do, see if I can do this one-handed, is you take the nub, put it on there, and then just twist it so it gets underneath, and you pry it off. Let's see, a little closer there. But you can also use it to put them back on if you really wanted to. But there's a different tool that's a little bit easier. This guy here. This is a 2-in-1 combo tool. I think I had to buy this when I was in tech school. And it's basically the same thing. It's got the same end on the one end as that first tool, but then it's got this guy on the other end. And this side's used for putting the springs back on. You basically hook the spring, put the little notch on the stud, and then just lever it over and it snaps in place. Let me see if I can get it to do it here so you can see. There's that. And then, so you got the spring down there in the nook, and you got your teeth on the lever. Boom. Now, that function you can totally do with a flathead screwdriver. It takes a little more effort, takes a little more finesse with turning it and doing a little more stuff, but it can be done with just a flathead screwdriver. So if you got the money, these tools are nice, but not necessary, and you can do this with these. Now, if you watched my other video about adjusting brakes, I'll leave a link in here on the YJ. This is basically an adjusting spoon, I think is what they call it. It goes in through the backing plate on the back, and you use it to turn. this adjusting wheel, but again, you can do that with a flathead screwdriver. So just wanted to revisit those, and we'll get this apart and see what's going on. All right, so there's the stud, there's your one spring, there's your other spring, and then this is the emergency brake cable adjuster mechanism anchor that goes off the stud as well. So just take pictures as you're going on your phone or whatever camera you got, so you know what goes where, especially if you're having to take it apart further than this. I'm hoping I won't have to take it apart much further. And then be careful with those springs. They are really strong, even though they look kind of small. They will snap your finger and they will freaking hurt. So just be careful with those. But you got other springs in here. You can barely see it right there. That's the hold down spring. You got one of those on each side. You can see it there a little bit. Those hold the shoes against the backer plate. And then, like I said, you got the conglomeration and stuff down here. I'm hoping that I can get that wheel cylinder out without having to take it apart any further. So we'll see. Here we go. All right, so these two little screws right there, all to hold that wheel cylinder in on the back side. I kind of tapped on it, pried on it this way, got the screwdriver under there this way, pried and finally popped loose. See if you can see the back side. All right, so there's the new one in there. So to get the old one out, when I undid the bolts, I basically just rotated, pulled it forward, rotated the backside down, slid it around to the side, and came out here. Just went back in the exact same way. Show you the backside here. There you can see the old bolts and the new thing. So save these caps, because those will protect your bleeder screws from getting plugged with crap. And save these caps, because if you ever do work down the road, you'll be able to use it to plug the line and prevent a whole bunch of brake fluid loss that will cause you to have to bleed it more and more. But there it is, it's in. I just got to get all the shoes and everything and the springs back together. I did have to end up taking it off, some of the springs off. So this one here has this little doodad on it. And when it's sitting in there, that's actually a guide for that parking brake adjuster to run on. It runs off of on the back side of that. So it'll sit in there kind of like that. And then the cable runs down that left side. So that will be part of getting this all back together. I'm not going to videotape that because it's going to be a bunch of me swearing and cussing and trying to get everything back together. But we will show you the finished product once I get it done. All right, there you have it. All back together. Actually went back together a little bit better than I thought I would. Just make sure everything's seated properly. Right down here and back in here. And make sure this cable's on the front side of these little ears of that so it'll sit properly. And attaches down there like that. Now, so when you set your e-brake, what's supposed to happen is that this lever comes up and will actually contact that wheel and turn it to adjust it. So we will see. Sometimes they don't work, sometimes they do. It's not an exact science, at least with these. Just make sure everything's seated properly still. I usually try to push the brakes together at the top, or the shoes together at the top, and then push them together at the bottom, and then they should kind of have a little bit of motion to them, which is fine. But yeah, so there you go. It's back together. Then you just do the same thing for the other side if you got to do the other one, which I do. So we're gonna hit that and then work on getting the lines in. All right, one quick thing with putting these in. You saw how small the bolts were. You don't have to go all hook-a-doog on them. Just snug them up a little bit at a time on each side. Snug this side and go this side, then back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until you get it tight. Like I said, it doesn't have to be super He-Man, hook-a-dooga, caveman tight. Just snug them up. You know, use your best judgment. It's basically kind of like a oil drain plug. Just a couple fingers on a 1/4-inch drive wrench, and that's good enough. This one I had to take apart a little bit more, had to spread stuff a little bit more because the line on this side didn't want to come out and stripped, so I just had to cut it off, but I got it out. Also, if you can get these bleeder screws out, even though this looks like crap on the outside, the threads on the inside are still going to be good. So go ahead and, if you can, save these, and you'll save yourself a lot of headache down the road. So save the caps, save the red caps that come. See how I'm doing it there? Got them in the junction block, keeping everything in as much as I can, and then save these bleeder screws if you can as well, and they'll save you so much headache and time down the road. Get everything sit, button back up, and then we'll move on. Hey guys, one last quick thing. Brakes are a very important part of your car's drivability, in case you didn't know that. Brakes help you stop, they help you control the vehicle, they help you not die, they help you not kill other people. So if you don't know what you're doing or have a question about what you are doing, read your instructions, read your owner's manual, get the factory manual, the Chiltons, the whatever. You know, some of these older cars you can find the actual factory manuals on eBay, on digital CDs that you can then download. You order the CD and it shows up, and then it downloads on your computer. It's all in PDF format, and they're amazing. I've done it for my 89 and XJ and my 91 YJ. Read the manuals, understand the manuals. If you don't know what you're doing, don't just use my videos. This is the legal disclaimer, because this is brakes. If you don't know what you're doing, get a professional to help you, or take it to a professional and have them do it. Don't do something dumb and think something's half-assed, or even if you don't think it's half-assed, have somebody else check your work if you've never done this before. Brakes are very important. Like I said, it keeps you from dying, keeps you from killing other people. If you don't know what you're doing, get help. Thanks.